She was with me for 4 years, until she walked away for the man her family preferred. 2 years have passed, and now she's falling apart. Not because her life is crumbling, at least not on the surface, but because she's watching me thrive. I've found success in business and love with the woman I was truly meant to be with. Hey, Reddit. I'm Jalen Cross. Once upon a time, I was just a guy trying to build a future out of thin air. Vanessa, my girlfriend of 4 years, left me for someone her family considered a better match. His name? Derek Monroe. Mr. Perfect on paper. Ivy League law student. Heir to a trust fund. Gleaming white smile. His LinkedIn could have passed for a campaign website. And me. I was just a scrappy dreamer with a garage startup, trying to make something real. Now, 2 years later, Vanessa is emotionally unraveling, not because her world fell apart, but because she's watching me live a life she once claimed to want. I'm happy. Genuinely. I'm with someone who truly sees me, someone I can build forever with. My real soulmate. But let me take you back to where it started, when I realized I wasn't the protagonist in Vanessa's story. It happened at her cousin's engagement party. The vibe was off. Her relatives had always regarded me like some temporary phase she'd eventually outgrow, but that night, it was glaringly obvious. Their comments were laced with subtle jabs and constant comparisons. And then Derek walked in, every bit the golden boy. He told dry, predictable lawyer jokes, and Vanessa laughed like it was prime-time stand-up. She leaned in close as he talked about internships, his path through law school, and the bright future ahead. I sat there watching her light up over a conversation she never had with me. Not once had she asked that deeply about my company, never beamed at the risks I took or the long hours spent chasing a dream. That night, I felt it, the distance between us, growing by the second. Back at my apartment, the unease lingered. She complained about the elevator being broken, again. It had been out for months. Grumbled about how small the bathroom was. Winced when Pixel, my dog, jumped up on the bed like he always did. She used to call him family. Now, he was just fur on her expensive skirt. A week later, it happened. She came over straight from her job, the one her dad's friend got her, no interview needed, wearing that perfectly curated office outfit. She sat down at the IKEA table we had once built together over cheap wine and takeout and delivered the lines she'd clearly rehearsed in front of a mirror. I love you, Jalen, but I need stability. Her voice was soft, careful, too careful. I can't keep waiting for you to get there. By there, you mean Derek? I asked. She didn't deny it. Just nodded and stared at the luxury watch her parents had given her for her last birthday. She started talking about needing something solid. Predictable. Secure. I could have pleaded. Could have begged her to stay or made promises I wasn't sure I could keep. But something inside me just shut down. All right, I said. That's all. She blinked, maybe expecting a breakdown. Something dramatic. A last-ditch plea. But I gave her nothing. What do you want me to say, Vanessa? That this hurts? That you're making a huge mistake? That your parents' warped priorities are making decisions for you? We both knew none of it would change a thing. 2 days later, she made it public. Full-on couple reveal. Coordinated outfits, brunch by the beach, his arm around her like they'd been together forever. Caption: Found my forever love. Meanwhile, I was still in our old bed. Still catching myself grabbing her favorite cereal out of habit. Still finding strands of her hair in the shower drain. No, I didn't suddenly become some tech billionaire overnight. This wasn't some fairy tale montage. It was messy, painful, real. My startup fell apart a month later. A botched demo scared away the investors. My lease ran out. Bank account, bone dry. I moved in with Marcus, my best friend since college. He handed me the keys to his tiny spare room without a second thought. Gave me half his closet, too. Pixel came along, of course. Not a word of complaint. I hustled. Days were for delivering Uber Eats. Nights were for stocking shelves. Just surviving. And all the while, Vanessa and Derek's fantasy life played out like an influencer ad campaign on my feed. Their vacations, designer clothes, clinking champagne glasses, I saw it all. I should have unfollowed, but heartbreak has a way of turning you into your own worst enemy. Then came the lowest point. I was dropping off an order at this upscale downtown bistro. And there they were, dressed to kill, laughing over cocktails like they owned the place. Her hair had been cut into a sleek, expensive style. His watch probably cost more than everything I owned combined. She saw me. For just a moment, our eyes locked. And maybe, just maybe, I saw something flicker across her face. Regret, pity, guilt, whatever it was, it vanished quickly, replaced by a practiced smile. The kind you give strangers you'll never think about again. That moment shattered me. That night, I deleted every social media app. I stared into the cracked bathroom mirror in Marcus's apartment and made myself a promise. No more wallowing. No more making excuses. No more being the ghost in someone else's success story. I got to work. 2 jobs, 4 hours of sleep, and every free second poured into a new idea. No flashy pitches this time. Just results. I created something real. An AI-powered legal tech tool that streamlined contract analysis for law firms. Something lean, smart, and effective. It wasn't the kind of tech that grabbed headlines or made flashy news segments. It was the quiet kind, the type that just worked. No frills, no hype. I knew exactly what problems it needed to solve because I'd lived them firsthand. Through it all, Marcus was my lifeline. When I skipped meals, he dropped off food. When I hit walls, he introduced me to people who could help. He even played a huge role in locking down our very first major client. 2 full years slipped by. I disappeared from everything: social media, mutual circles, any lingering thread that could lead back to Vanessa. I didn't care to know where she was or what Derek was up to. While she played the role of picture-perfect spouse, I was laying the foundation of something that would change everything. The real turning point came after a small mention in a legal tech journal. Suddenly, our inbox exploded. Clients began pouring in. The money. It started chasing me. We scaled fast. London, Singapore, Silicon Valley. But here's the kicker. The very tool I built? It was doing the tedious work that guys like Derek had built their careers on. Our software was streamlining the same entry-level legal tasks his firm relied on junior staff to handle. We were quietly replacing entire departments, including his. Derek had no idea I was the one behind it all. But Vanessa, she knew. We crossed paths again at a tech gala in Manhattan. I was there to accept an industry award. She arrived on Derek's arm, visibly bored, barely pretending to care. Her eyes locked on mine the moment I stepped on stage. I could see the shock register. Later, I caught her lingering near the open bar. She glanced me over and said, "Jalen, you look different." I smiled and replied, "No, I just look successful." She gave an awkward laugh. I added, "Looks like I found my forever too," then walked away without another glance. After that night, she barely crossed my mind. My focus was elsewhere: our international growth, opening a new branch in Berlin, managing a rapidly expanding team that counted on me daily. But she didn't stay gone. At first, it was whispers, mutual friends mentioning her, the occasional random message, old contacts reaching out. "Hey, is it true Jalen's company replaced Monroe and Carter's entire junior staff? Yo, Vanessa's asking about you. Said she saw you on Bloomberg." Word was, Derek's firm had just lost 2 major clients. Both had switched to us. His name, once high profile in legal circles, was starting to fade. My company, on the other hand, was everywhere, disrupting the old system with precision and quiet dominance. Then came the email. Short, simple, from her personal account. Subject: Hey, body. Caught your interview on CNBC. Congrats. Would love to reconnect sometime. V. I stared at it for 5 minutes. Not out of hurt. Not out of longing. Just curiosity. The kind you feel when you stumble across an old photo in a forgotten drawer. A week passed before I wrote back. Sure. There's a new coffee spot by my office. Saturday work. She replied almost instantly. See you then. We met at a sleek cafe my team loved. Tall ceilings, exposed brick, curated playlists humming in the background. The kind of place Vanessa used to say gave her anxiety. This time, she called it a vibe. She still looked put together. Same polished presence, well-dressed and composed. But something had shifted. She looked slimmer, maybe worn out. Her smile didn't reach her eyes the way it once had. You look incredible, she said, moving in for a hug. I didn't hug back. Thanks. You too, I replied, lying out of habit. We exchanged pleasantries, talked briefly about her family. She asked about Pixel. He's doing great, by the way. Then, she sighed and dropped the facade. Jalen, I've been thinking a lot about us. I let her speak. I didn't realize what I had back then. Seeing what you've built, who you are now, made me wonder if I was wrong. Her voice wavered. I knew that look. Regret masquerading as honesty. She hesitated, then added, Derek and we're on a break. He's not who I thought he was. There it was. I leaned back. Do you remember the day you left? She nodded silently. So do I. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. She looked confused. You never asked what I wanted. You'd already made your decision before sitting down at that table. She dropped her gaze. I was scared, Jalen. Everyone told me I needed something stable. And you were still figuring it out. Yeah, I said. And I figured it out. But while you were chasing safety, I was learning how to survive. You chose comfort. I chose the climb. She twisted the napkin in her hands. Are you happy? I smiled, genuinely. More than ever. And I'm with someone now. Someone who believed in me before the success. Who stayed when there was nothing glamorous about my life. Her expression crumbled. She nodded, blinking away tears. I didn't think I'd lose you forever. Those words might have destroyed me once. But now, they meant nothing. I paid for her coffee, gave a polite nod, and walked out. No dramatic speeches. No what-ifs. No second chances. Because this life I had, it was real. It was better. And there was no room in it for people who only saw my value after I'd made it. 6 months later, I stood on stage in Lisbon at a global tech summit. Vanessa. Just a distant memory. Derek's firm had ended up licensing our software anyway. They sent out a cold, generic letter to every junior associate they let go. My team, thriving. My partner, the kind of woman who celebrates the ugly days as much as the wins. And me. I'm not the guy who got lucky. I'm the guy who got left, and got to work.